on the Qiankou architectural site. This house is unique for a couple of reasons. One is it's 3 stories, and this designates it certainly as an official's residence. Notice that kind of balcony there on the right. And also this was painted when it was first built, and apparently the paint is still on here. That must be this portion that we see in the back, which looks so mottled. And also these plaques that we sometimes see in one form or another, not often like this, which appear to be ceramic, but more likely in some kind of plastic today. Notice the detail, and notice the detail of the flowers, which is so reminiscent of the drain plug look, if you will, in the stones. So the white, curious that they would paint this beautiful wood white to reflect or be similar to the plastered look. Carving is not exceptional, and limited amount of those impressive beams across the front. You would have to imagine that these white panels were just too pregnant with the potential to be painted, particularly when you look at all the halls and temples we've been in where such panels are painted. This may well be the door to the stairway going. It was also pointed out that this is only a portion of the house that was moved, probably because the rest wasn't that interesting or unique. Here I am back at our Nuns Bridge. So here an interesting bit of sculpture. How'd they even cut that out? Nondescript small little village with its own little covered bridge. Kind of cool. May have been getting back to the highway may be the difficult. This very nice hotel, the manager in there very graciously gave me a cup full of hot tea. Had to wait for it to cool down. I stupidly had not put anything on my 2 cheat sheets about bottled water. I turn right up here and I'm there. I don't know where they get these big stones, but there's some markings on them. And so here's the repository for them at any rate. Maybe when they cannibalize older places they have no interest in restoring. Okay, here's my ticket for Chengkan. And I'm just going to pan this pretty little area with the bridges outside of the town before I go in. There's the entrance in. Wonder how much of the city was this way. Wonder what that brown stuff is on top of the water. This large wall was probably once a dragon wall, which meant it would have had 9 dragons on it or something akin to that. And since I don't know where I'm going, and the only thing I can identify so far is handicapped toilet. And beautiful new chandelier. Don't know what this building would have been, but very pretty. New arch. They're doing the short trip across that bridge, so I'll do the same. There are just very many interesting views now. There's only, to my knowledge so far, 2 tourists, Chinese and me. And all day long I'm the only one of me that I've seen. Beautiful color. This is some kind of an interior courtyard, but once, notice the old building as I pan by it, once it held some kind of an important temple, now reserved for keeping bulls out of the sun. careful to wet. Don't want to touch that line. It doesn't appear to be much signage here, so I will just wander. These boards are 9 inches wide. There's what once was a water wheel. Water power and trip hammer, Shui, West Han Dynasty, husking rice, day by night to produce rice so as to save labor. Small wheel accommodating 2 pestles. Again, that used a metal bearing, which can still turn. It has grease in it and it moves. Notice that this system somehow channeled water down through here, over here, to make the wheel work. Be blocked to force the channel the water there. Spoke too early, 3 giant tour buses. I wonder if I can con a ride into town. Some artists busily at work. It's an interesting comment here about how much damage there is and how much old incompleteness, and it says, incomplete is a kind of beauty because of objective and real is her life, Lao Tzu said. Perfect absolutely without vitality. Sometimes imperfection contains more abundance, activation. Value the beauty of incomplete, value the history more. But it's interesting, Dr. John Kramer, my most revered professor from college, used to say, and I never could quite understand it. I'm still searching for my own clarity on what he said. But what he said was, perfection is that which has the slightest defect. And here's how China changes. A main entrance to a building, or a substantial entrance, being brick. This is to keep the riffraff out. Presumably these are the specific buildings that we'll see in here. What's that mean? So my art student friend is going to take me on the tour here, which will make it easier. But notice that we're enclosed all the way here so far by these walls. So apparently all of these residences that were here, or at least little neighborhoods, were sequestered off from themselves. I like, this is a working community.
丝瓜 In Chinese say 丝瓜
丝瓜?
丝瓜
丝瓜? She will probably plug in the Chinese and show me what the English is. I just wanted to stop here to shoot how pretty this is. There's only 1 person wide for normal walking, although you could get 2 in here if you want. Notice how this rock here is separated in here, presumably to keep these walls from coming together, at least at the base. So my guide has corrected me that what these are for is so that when there are 2 people, 1 person can stand where she is and the other person can walk by. Now I'm going to shoot up here because I want to notice that this outside is peeling off part of the natural process. I am also teacher. I was teacher. This is interesting right here, although I can't be sure what it's for. It's terracinta or something like that, and there's something to do with being tall. So this might have been a little store right here, and maybe it even opened up behind those. So here we are at the child school. It's interesting. Someone has scribbled "left behind children." This may be a school for orphans. Bucolic scene. Now my friend Xu Ting points out another architectural feature here on this tall building. This indentation is to allow